Dear friends, Merry Christmas. How was your Christmas? How was your holiday? Christmas is the time of the year when we celebrate Jesus Christ coming into the world. Christmas is a holiday that we celebrate, truly celebrate Jesus Christ coming into the world as the light of the world to open up the way for us to enter eternity, to reconcile us to the Father and to each other. And not only that, that's the day that Jesus Christ came into the world to die for our sakes on the cross. Although he came into the world as the light of the world to save us, but the problem was the world did not understand it. In John chapter 1, verse 5, it says, the light shines in the darkness, but the darkness has not understood it. In other words, the world just simply did not understand that God was trying to save the world. The world just simply had no interest in trying to understand that God has sent his Son, and that was the only way to save the world. The world just simply did not understand the whole agenda of God. They had no interest in finding that out. Furthermore, and this is the verdict, verse 10, he was in the world, and though the world was made through him, the world did not recognize him. In other words, the world simply did not acknowledge him. Though the world had no idea who Jesus Christ was. They liked him as a friend. They liked him as a rabbi. They liked him as a teacher. They liked him as someone who might politically bring independence to Israel and restore the kingdom of David. But they did not really recognize that Jesus Christ came into the world as a savior of the world, as a child of God, as a son of God, as a living God himself. They did not recognize him. They just did not acknowledge him. You see, this is a problem even today. People like Jesus. They like what Jesus talks about. Yeah, love each other. Serve the poor. That's a great thing to say. They're all about that. But the problem is, do you really see Jesus Christ as the only way to the Father? Do you really see Jesus Christ as the only way to salvation? Do you recognize Jesus for who he is? Some people actually came to Jesus a long time ago and said, Lord, I would like to follow you, but let me go first, bury my father. You know, to those people, do you know what Jesus said? Let the dead go bury their deads. I was thinking when I was a little child, I was thinking reading that passage, maybe Jesus Christ is not all about funerals and us going to burying our own friends and families that have passed away. But if you really read that passage, this is what it means. Do you really understand who I am? Jesus is saying, Lord, let me go first, bury my father. Let me go first, go and bury my mother. And Jesus is saying this, you know what? Do you really not see who I am? If you're truly spiritually alive and see who I am, you won't be able to say, let me go first, do that. The very fact that you can actually say, let me go first, do that, and do that, that simply proves the point that you're probably dead spiritually, so dead spiritually. Even if the Son of God, the Savior of the world is standing before you, you don't even recognize him. Like I said, this is our problem. Many times we say those excuses today too, don't we? Let me go first, graduate. Let me go first, take care of my own interest. Let me go first, do my homework. Let me go first, take care of my financial issues. Then I might be able to serve you. Then I may be able to offer up my life to you. But Jesus Christ is saying this, you're probably dead spiritually. Let the dead go bury their own dead. You're probably dead. That's why you can't even see me. If you truly, truly understand who I am, if you truly understand that the Son of God is standing before you, inviting you into his presence, you won't be able to say, let me go first, do that. And that's the thing that the world failed to do. They failed to recognize him. They failed to acknowledge him for who he is. But not only that, the world also failed to receive him. It says in verse 12, yet to all who receive him. In other words, implying the world did not receive him. In verse 11, it actually says, right out, it says, he came to that which was his own, but his own did not receive him. The world simply did not receive him. The word to receive, according to the Bible, it means not to just accept, but it means truly, truly, gladly welcome someone. In other words, the world did not gladly welcome Jesus Christ. You see, this is actually the same mistake that we make today, don't we? We say, you know what? I like what Jesus is saying. I like some parts of what he's saying. It's really good. But you know what? I can't take the whole truth because, there are some parts that make me feel very uncomfortable. But you know what personal relationship is? Personal relationship is either all or nothing. You can't go up to someone and say, you know what? I like the way you look. I like the way you dress. But you know what? I really don't like the way you talk. Therefore, I want to date you. I want to be with you. I want to have a good relationship with you. But when you're with me, don't talk. How terrible is that to say that to someone, right? Personal relationship means either you take that person as a whole or you don't take it. It's all or nothing. When you try to establish your personal relationship with God, it's either you take everything he says, or you reject you reject the entire thing. But a lot of us, we take some parts to be true. We like some parts of what Jesus is saying. But sometimes the things that really challenge us, the things that make us feel uncomfortable, the things that really bring us out from our comfort zones, we don't like it. We're willing to reject those areas, right? And that's exactly what the world is doing. When Jesus actually came into the world, everybody thought that he was trying to bring some kind of political independence to the kingdom of Israel. But when he truly brought out the truth about who he is, they rejected it. They did not accept him. They did not welcome him. Let us not make the same mistake today. That's my prayer. Let's not make the same mistake that people have made in the past. Not only that, this is the verdict. The world simply did not believe in him. That's what's implied in verse 12. Yet to those who received him, to those who believed in his name, he gave the right to become children of God. In other words, people just simply did not trust in him. The word to believe means to place your trust in him completely. Do you trust in God? Do you receive him? Are you willing to accept him? Open up your hearts and truly accept him. Welcome him for who he is. Not just a part of what he says. Are you willing to welcome the entire thing that he's claiming? All the truth about who he is. Everything about who God is, who Jesus is. Are you willing to really embrace that truth? Are you willing to recognize him? God, I want to really recognize you and acknowledge you for who he is, for who you are. And you know what that means? You can't just go on in the way that we used to serve him. We used to have our Christian lives. Because if you were standing before the one and the only true living God, how could you just live a mediocre Christian life? And let us understand this truth. And that's the way that we should respond to this Christmas season. The day that God has given his only Son as a gift to the world.